So I am going to clean up the steel ring that holds the two halves of the filter together. So I have a rust wheel, or you can use a wire brush, but I like the rust wheel because there's a little bit of rust in the ring. And get that at Walmart for a few bucks. And once you get done removing all the rust and loose paint stuff, I'm going to wipe it down with some alcohol. And then I'm going to use almond gloss. Rust-Oleum. It's like $5 at Home Depot. Okay, and this has got the paint and the primer built into it. Okay, you want to tape off the threads right here, and I put a piece of tape over the label from the factory right here, and then get ready to paint. Rule of thumb is 2 light coats and 1 medium coat. Wait about 5-10 minutes between each coat. Alright, so the next step you're going to do is you're going to hose down and pressure wash any of the big stuff off that you can with a gentle, like, car washing tip. Nothing hard. Just get the big stuff off, and then we're going to bleach everything. So I got my Chapman bleach sprayer here, and I'm going to bleach everything down and then wash it again. Alright, this is what the unit looks like all bleached. I'm not touching it because of all the fuzzy hairs on it. So the next step is I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to lightly sand it. So before we paint, we're going to lightly sand this fiberglass and knock off some of those little hairs that are causing all the irritations on the skin. I'm going to wear some protective glasses, definitely going to wear a mask, and I got just a simple sponge sanding pad. I'm going to sand the whole surface down. Also wear gloves. Okay? Well, that produced quite a bit of dust, but it's much smoother and cleaner now, and I'm still going to keep my gloves on. So the next step is to get ready to paint it. And what you want to do now is grab some Dawn, just plain old Dawn with nothing special in it, and wash it down and rinse it really good. And that's going to remove the final, any greases, waxes, anything that would cause paint and adhesion problems. Yeah, the Dawn's working very nicely. I'm just using an old Scotch pad, by the way. And for these grooves here, I'm going to go ahead and just take an old toothbrush like this, just to get in there, because you can't really sand in there. It only take a few minutes to go around the top and bottom and make sure that's nice and clean in there. Okay, and then the next step is we're just going to rinse it off and let it dry. Do paint and restore this fiberglass surface now. It's nice and porous and sanded and clean, so it should take the paint pretty good. So you only need the paint up to like here. You don't need it all over where the metal frame's going to go. I taped it up. Anyways, I put tape over all the stickers, what's left of them, around the top, on the sticker in the back. Before I did that, I did use a cheap thing of super glue to push down the speakers stickers that had peeled up. Blue tape. This is oil-based paint, so you want some cheap throwaway brushes. I wouldn't use a roller, I'd use a brush. And this is the stuff that you want to get. This is at Lowe's for about $16. It's Rust-Oleum. This is topside paint for boat. Key item. Doesn't say, it says fiberglass for fiberglass. And the color I picked is sand beige. There's not a lot of color choices. It's as good as it's going to get. We'll see how it goes. Again, brush it on. It is oil based. You don't want to clean your brush. It's not worth it. Just throw it out. And I would have a little fan set up too, like I do, just to. It's probably going to stink a little bit. Okay. We got the top half done. See the kind of the color difference. It's a shade darker, but it looks good. It'll look good with the color of my house. It's not laying down as flat as I would like. I think the Rust-Oleum hammer that some people use might lay down and hide imperfections a little bit better. But this one's made for fiberglass, and I don't need it to look great, but from 10 feet away. So I'm looking for UV protection and to extend the length of this very expensive filter. So I think this will be fine. Don't forget to tape up these spouts here. I did forget to do that, so I did do that. The bottom half went smoother than the top half. Vertical application is definitely easier versus the flat, and I use less paint. So I think that's the key tip here, is just a little bit of paint and spread it around. Let that fiberglass suck it up, and it definitely gives a flatter look to it. I'm probably going to do 2 coats. So the first coat's on, and just gonna let it dry for a bit and work on a second coat later. But so far so good. Okay, so I let this thing dry up overnight. It got safe to touch after a few hours yesterday, but it is an oil-based paint, so it's going to take a lot of cure. It's pretty hard right now overnight. So the next step is, because I let it harden up overnight, I'm going to lightly sand it to scuff it up a little bit for the second coat and remove any minor imperfections, but I'm very pleased with the results. Looks great. After I sand it, I'm going to vacuum it with the fuzzy to get in all these grooves, and then I'm just going to take a micro cloth and just some generic cleaners and tough stuff and just kind of wipe it down, and then I'm going to put the second coat on it. This thing came out really good. It cured up overnight. It's solid. I am going to spray some lithium grease on the inside here just to act as a releasing agent, because I'm going to have new paint on top of a little bit of new paint, and I don't want those two to get stuck together because they probably will. So I'm going to put some lithium grease on the inside, and then don't forget to put some grease on the threads here too, before you tighten it down later. This thing came out looking like $1 million. I'm very happy with the results. Next up is I'm gonna give this thing a quick lube job. I didn't take any special care with the DE filter. In fact, I didn't even back flush it because I'm gonna replace this in another video. But I'm gonna make sure it doesn't leak before I do that. So I'm just gonna leave it alone, and I'm just going to clean and re-lube the big O-ring here. And I always use magic lube. I don't use Vaseline or grease or anything. Get this on Amazon or your pool store. This stuff works the best and lasts the longest. Okay, as a reminder, I did put some lithium grease on the inside of this clamp so it slip along here nicely. And you tighten this until the gaps in the spring coil, until it touches. And as soon as it touches, you can stop. I'm a little bit shy of being all the way. This is an old filter, but I'm gonna leave it like this right now, and if it leaks, I'll tighten a little bit more, but I think it should be okay. You don't want to over tighten it if you don't have to. When will these videos stop? So here's your connection point. I do recommend you remove and inspect the O-rings. I'm gonna use a little ice pick here and pry them off and inspect them. And boy, that's tough. I'm gonna use two hands. They look okay. Lube that track up and the O-ring, both of them, really well, and then wipe the outer surface really good. And then on this end, same thing, wipe this good, and I would actually lube a little bit in here too. Okay. Right. I wouldn't say that was the easiest thing to reinstall. My pad had sunk 1.5 inches, so you know, getting this thing back all lined up was a little bit of a challenge when I fixed my pad. But it's all on. You hand tighten this first before you put a big wrench on it, and should be good to go. Next is just test it, but it looks great.